In Texas, we have a saying, don't start a fight if you can't finish it. But sitting there in that ice-cold HOA boardroom, listening to people who'd never sweated a day in their lives calmly plot to push me out of the very $30 million ranch I'd built from scratch, I realized that some folks don't know who they're messing with. Those fluorescent lights were brutal, felt like an interrogation lamp. Out the window, my vineyard stretched for miles, cattle grazing on those terraced hillsides. Every inch of that land, I'd carved out with my own hands. They call me an outsider. Hell, they didn't know I was the one who'd turned this place from a patch of nothing into a living, breathing Texas empire. And if you back a Texan into a corner, you'd better expect a fight. I promise you, we don't roll over, we dig in. Sitting there, I drifted back to my first day on this property, 15 years back. 3 tours in Afghanistan had left me hollowed out, looking for something to anchor my life again. My old sergeant used to say, freedom's not handed to you, it's built with your own sweat. That's what this ranch was to me. It was freedom, legacy, something I could pass on. Every stone, every sapling, every creek I dug out with my own hands, it all meant something. And now, staring at Veronica strawed across that boardroom table, watching her shuffle paperwork with the efficiency of a guillotine, I felt every bit of those 15 years humming in my bones. The name's Jack Colton, ex-Marine, spent what most called a stupid amount of money buying 50 grand's worth of rocky wasteland. But I saw potential. Over 15 years, I turned every patch of rock into modern eco-farming. Greenhouses, chicken runs, woodworking shops, even hydroponic systems. That scrubland now made $3 million a year, employed 27 locals, and brought in thousands of visitors. Veronica sat there, 40-something, corporate lawyer, pressed blazer, more ambition than empathy. She'd come in 8 months ago waving her modernization campaign. Since then, my life was a blizzard of permits, delivery truck bans, visitor quotas, all meant to strangle me out, inch by inch. Today, I could tell, this was their checkmate move. Mr. Colton, she started, voice like she was reading my rights. The board has compiled a comprehensive violation report. She slid a folder over. Inside, every petty rule they could dream up. My rooster crowed too loud. My barn exceeded height codes. School tours were now unauthorized commercial gatherings. It was bureaucratic death by 1,000 paper cuts. I looked up at her and asked, "You want me to just walk away from what I built?" My hands gestured out at the window, my whole world outside. "You got any idea how much blood went into this land?" She didn't flinch. Emotions can't replace compliance. She was ice, nothing got through. But this didn't smell right. It wasn't about noise or code. This was a slow-motion heist, orchestrated down to the hour. I leaned in, looked her dead in the eyes. "Who's pulling your strings, Veronica? This isn't community standards. It's a hostile takeover." A flicker of fear crossed her face, gone in a heartbeat. She handed me a notice, 30 days to shut down or face legal action. Walking out to my truck, the whole place felt off. Too quiet. Shadows longer than usual. The sunset over my vineyards looked like gold, but I couldn't shake the feeling I was being watched. And sure enough, as I pulled into my driveway, there it was, a drone, hovering just above my roofline, lens pointed straight at my house. Before I could react, it zipped off into the trees. The mailbox held an unmarked envelope. Inside, aerial photos of my land from every angle. "We know everything," scrawled in red. Sleep wasn't an option that night. By dawn, I was installing new cameras, my old military instincts kicking in. At the barn, I spotted fresh footprints in the mud. Someone had been out here. Digging around, I found a weird electronic device. Looked like a ground-penetrating radar unit. Serial number filed off, but the logo still read Geodyne Industries. I called Dr. Patterson, my geology prof from A&M. He didn't even hesitate. "Jack, that's 50 grand of equipment. Someone's running a mineral survey on your land." That's when the penny dropped. This wasn't about property values. They wanted what was under my ranch. But who and why? Later that day, a battered old pickup rolled in. Carter Williams, weathered 60-something, handshake like sandpaper. "I was HOA president before Veronica," he said, Texan drawl thick as molasses. "She booted me for blocking her development scheme. You're not her first target." Carter laid it out. 6 other families forced out by bogus violations. Land snapped up for pennies by one outfit, Alpine Vista Holdings. Never heard of them till Veronica showed up. And they had bottomless pockets. I decided to poke the bear. Left my farm truck in a spot that violated some made-up parking rule. By sunrise, boom, $5,000 fine, and a business card from Alpine Vista. We can make this problem disappear. Call us. 2 days later, an Alpine rep, Mr. Davidson, slick suit, expensive watch, offered $18 million cash for my ranch. When I refused, he got that shark grin. Fighting the HOA gets expensive, Jack. We've seen good people lose everything. The threat wasn't even subtle. I started checking my whole property. Found GPS trackers on my tractors, hidden cameras near the house, bugged utility boxes, full-blown surveillance, military grade. Whoever was behind this had real resources. The only question was, what were they after? Carter kept digging. Turns out, every family targeted owned land with either big acreage, prime water, or something a bit more special. I was looking at a playbook, not a grudge. That night, the alarms tripped. 3 men, all black gear, cut my front gate, snuck into my barn. They planted a black box that sent out some weird signal. I yanked it out next morning and took it to a tech in town. He paled when he opened it. This is military-grade jamming equipment. Someone wanted to take down your security systems. They weren't just watching anymore. They were getting ready to make a move. Now, I'm a believer in gathering intel before making a scene, so I hired Marcus Webb, ex-FBI bloodhound for corporate fraud. Within 48 hours, he'd traced Alpine Vista through 3 shell companies, 2 offshore banks, all leading back to some international energy conglomerate. Meanwhile, Carter brought in more families. One of them was Beth Henderson, my friend and local vet. Seeing her sob over the threat to her clinic and her sick kid needing surgery was the gut punch that flipped a switch in me. This wasn't just my fight anymore. They were crushing everyone. We pooled our evidence, sudden rules, targeted fines, strategic sales. Turns out, Alpine Vista was just the front. Petrov Energy, a Russian company, was buying up thorium deposits across the U.S. using dirty legal tricks and intimidation. And guess who Veronica really was? Not just a hotshot lawyer. Her real name was Veronica Petrov, daughter of the company's founder. She'd changed her name, slipped through the cracks, wormed her way into our community as a double agent. The night before the HOA vote, everything came to a head. Cattle started showing radiation symptoms. Someone poisoned the feed. We were about to be framed for environmental terrorism, the perfect excuse for federal seizure. On election day, Beth ran for president, demanding independent investigation. I went all in, live-streaming everything, exposing the thorium and foreign plot. 50,000 people watched as I held up those soil samples. Yeah, that happened. Reporters swarmed in. Veronica's whole operation unraveled in front of everyone. Then, like a villain out of a Bond flick, Dmitry Petrov himself showed up, suit worth more than my old truck, flanked by muscle. He offered $500 million for community cooperation, then threatened me in Russian, thinking nobody would understand. Joke's on him. Beth speaks Russian, and we had it all recorded. Played it for the crowd. Use any methods, accidents if needed. The room went silent. Petrov's mask slipped. Beth won the vote in a landslide. But you know, these kinds of snakes don't just slither away. Within 3 days, they buried me and Beth in lawsuits, tried to bankrupt us, painted me as a conspiracy nut on CNN and Russian state TV. But fate. Yeah, fate's funny. Sometimes it throws you a bone. Turns out the judge in our case was a military man, seen Petrov's playbook before. At the same time, the NSA showed up. They'd been tracking Petrov for years, watching him try to corner America's thorium market. My evidence blew the doors off the whole case. The feds flipped the script, Operation Thorium Shield. They needed my help to keep Petrov talking while they built their case. I played the part, wired up for meetings, let Petrov brag about bribing politicians and rigging environmental disasters. Every word recorded. When it was all over, Petrov and Veronica were arrested on federal charges. Espionage, corruption, terrorism, you name it. Their assets frozen, their lawyers scattering. Turns out, 12 U.S. congressmen had taken bribes. Several resigned before the handcuffs could even click. That viral video, it became the symbol of American pushback. I got calls from every corner, veterans, farmers, families who'd faced the same crap. Hollywood came knocking. I sold the rights and built a foundation to help other rural communities fight foreign land grabs and corporate shakedowns. Beth and I, we ended up getting married, built our own little powerhouse, ranch, research center, vet clinic, now employing over 200 folks. Our 4 kids know their home is the backbone of America's energy independence. They Scrubland became the Texas thorium capital, feeding 25% of America's clean energy needs, giving jobs to thousands, proof that you can protect your land and still move forward. 10 years later, Beth stood on stage at the National Thorium Conference, her words echoing around the world. We didn't fight for just one ranch. We fought for every family forced off their land, for every kid who deserves to run free, for a future that's ours, not for sale to the highest foreign bidder. And as I watched our kids play beneath turbines and grapevines, knowing our little patch of Texas helped change the world, I realized this. The real victory wasn't just in beating Petrov. It was showing that when regular folks stand up, when they fight smart and fight together, no outside power can take what belongs to us. So, yeah, sometimes the biggest battles find you. And sometimes the good guys win, even when the deck is stacked. If you've ever stared down a fight you didn't ask for, if you believe one voice can still make a difference, go ahead. Let me know what you think down below. Who's right? Who's wrong? And what would you have done? Because this isn't the end. Not for me. Not for you. Not for any small town fighting for its soul. You know what I mean?